Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic.
Hey everyone, happy September. That means a lot of us are heading west, or in my case, by the time that this podcast airs, I will be already in the high country of Colorado, hopefully with my eyes on a bull or any elk I guess in that case. So I'll be spending 15 days in the high country, doing a little bit of hunting with my dad and some friends of mine that I'll meet up with later in the trip, and maybe a few days in the middle there by myself. But I'm extremely excited for that and can't wait. But before I get into this podcast here with my good friend and buddy Brandon Hall from North Carolina, I wanted to cover a few things here. So with me being gone the next couple weeks here, there will be this podcast released, and then there will not be one the following week until I get back. So I thought about finding a way of releasing it and kind of timelining it, but I figured that with the timeliness and some of the topics that I want to cover here, it would just be best for me to roll that out when I get back. So while I'm out there, I'm going to be attempting to record a podcast every night, or at least every couple nights, of the experience of that day. So when I get back, I can produce, edit the podcast and release them on a daily basis to almost make you feel like you're, a part of the hunt and catching, the raw emotion and experiences as they happen. So I'm really excited to do this project and, see how it turns out. So there'll be a lot of, content coming out after I get back here from Colorado, and hopefully some success stories to go along with that. So if anyone's out there elk hunting, good luck to you and shoot straight. In addition to that, I will be, when I'm above tree line, I should be able to have cell reception. So when that does happen, I will be posting to the Instagram story on my personal page at beau.martonic, as well as the East Meets West Hunt page at East Meets West Hunt on Instagram, and trying to, give some updates on there. And lastly, right now the pre-order is up for the coveted #RutStash t-shirts. So those are up on the website now. They're live. Kayleen Cohen did an amazing job, designing this logo for me, and I think it turned out great. These shirts have been a hit so far since the release of the pre-order here. So if you get a chance, go over, order yourself a RutStash shirt, and they should be done sometime around the time I get back, and I'll be shipping right after then. So check those out and see what you think. Otherwise, everyone, again, have a safe hunting season as you get started here, and enjoy this podcast with Brandon Hall. All right, we're back for another episode of the East Meets West Hunt podcast. I'm sitting here with my buddy Brandon Hall.
What's going on, guys?
I met Brandon last year at the Train to Hunt event at Ambridge Sportsman Club in Pennsylvania. So Brandon and I both had signed up for the event separate as to go in solo.
Going in, I had no idea who Bo Martonic was.
So we went in solo and ended up being kind of partnered up on the 3D part of the event, and just ended up talking through there, shooting together. Brandon watched me, fling arrows off of trees and everything.
Nah, man, you didn't do none of that. I don't think we lost any arrows, did we?
No, we shot pretty good.
Yeah.
We shot good. I think you went into the next part of the event, the challenge course, pretty high up in there from.
Yeah, I think after the 3D course, I was what was it, number 8? I think I shot like an 88, which was pretty good. I was surprised.
Yeah, no, you did excellent.
But the challenge course, that's what brought me way down.
Yeah. No, you did excellent there. So then, Brandon and I did the train hunt event. Had a pretty good time there. Kind of got our asses kicked as far as just it was tough. It was really tough. All the different parts of the event seemed like they were simple. I'm like, oh, I can do that. I can do that. And then you get into it, and it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that you're out here and you're doing all this and you're just about to the point where you're going to puke. I mean, the way I was anyway, you do these burpees and then you have to run, what was it, a third of a mile or something, and run back, and then do it all over again. And you're like, oh, man, this sucks so bad. And then you're up on the mountain and you can't even hardly run. You're just trying to push yourself, and it's wet, slippery. And, guys are coming down just covered in mud where they fell down the mountain. But
yeah, that was a muddy mess.
It was.
We had I don't know how much rain, but before that, days before, it was just like almost flood condition rain event.
But what I was gonna say is that when you're doing it, it sucked. But when it was over with, you're like, man, I wouldn't mind doing that again sometime.
Yeah, for some reason, right?
I don't know if it's just stupidity or what.
I think it's kind of like hunting, though. We do that sometimes. It's miserable.
So the whole term of embracing the suck, that's what that was.
Yeah. I think I've heard someone say that before. But anyways, yeah, that was a fun event, and that's where I first met Brandon, and since then we just kind of stayed in touch.
Yeah, and it's not just you and I meeting; it's the other people we met too. And what we've been saying the whole weekend here is that every time we go to one of these events, we meet somebody new, and we build more relationships. And majority of the people that you meet are just good, honest people. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're out here, got a bunch of dicks hanging around you. They're good people.
Yeah.
Somebody that you can trust and put your faith in to get if you're going backcountry hunting, they've got your back and you got their back.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that trust, stuff like that, ain't no point in even going with them.
Yeah. No, they were so many good people. I've kept in touch with, I'd say 90% of the people that we ran the event with. It was pretty awesome. And
Bill up there, Bill Edel.
Yeah.
He pushes that thing like crazy, man. The Ambridge Sports Club.
Yeah. The whole group there, Bill and Tim, they put on an amazing event. They put an amazing event there, and then and Kenton and the crew at Train to Hunt. That's an awesome event. Recommend anybody that wants to do something, push themselves a little bit, to sign up for a Train to Hunt event. Even if you think you're not ready, just do it. Yeah. You'll complete it, get through it.
Yep.
Maybe harder than you think, maybe easier. Who knows? I'm going to guess it's harder, but anyways,
yeah.
That's the gist of that. So anyways, Brandon and I, we stayed in touch. He's from North Carolina. I'm from Pennsylvania. And so a little bit of distance involved there, but we had something in common last year. We were going on a backcountry hunt, different states.
Yeah.
But same goal.
Yep.
Elk.
Well,
and you were after antelope as well.
Well, I had a elk, deer, and antelope tag, so okay. I had a three part there.
Okay.
But
so anyways, Brandon, tell us a little bit about where you're from in North Carolina.
All right, so I am from the eastern part of North Carolina. We call that the Coastal Plains region. I'm about hour and a half south of Raleigh, about 45 minutes maybe from Wilmington. So as far as an hour drive, I can be at the beach. And that's just where I've grew up. I was born there, lived there. My only brief stint away was in college. I went to Raleigh, which is, only an hour and a half away. Spent a couple years there for school. But where I'm at is virtually flat. I think our elevation is maybe like 40, 60 feet above sea level.
So similar to, Colorado, Montana.
Yeah, man. You get up there, about Denver, it's about the same elevation.
Yeah.
No, that's a big change going from, 40 feet to 8,000 feet.
Yeah.
The thinness of the air, just, that right there will just suck the life out of you when you're hiking, and you're hiking hard, and you just feel like you can't catch your breath, and and just not used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I'm from. Where the state bird is the mosquito. And
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, North Carolina is a beautiful state, but for me, the humidity, the bugs,
yeah,
the heat,
man, the
that's
humidity
not for me.
is terrible. I mean, you can at certain days in the summer you can take a knife and just cut the air. I mean,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man. So with being from North Carolina there and going out west, what are kind of your challenges with? How do you get ready? I'm just going to go straight to a physical standpoint because, no matter what, I believe that, you can go out there and you can hunt no matter what your physical condition is to a point, but obviously it makes it a little bit easier if you're in shape. So what were you doing to do that? Obviously the train to hunt, but I want to hear a little bit more.
Yep. The train to hunt was, for me, it was more of a motivator to help get you in shape. Basically, I went online, for train to hunt, I went online, figured out what scenarios we were going to be doing, what exercises or what exactly we were going to be doing, and I just practiced that.
Mm-hmm.
I had me a little course set up with a tire drag. I had a box where I was doing step overs and sandbags, carrying all that, doing the over the shoulders, the burpees, all that stuff, running. But the biggest thing that prepared me or helped prepare me is just lower body and core workouts. I think, that article that I helped you out with for Journal Mountain Hunting, I said that, curls are good, but they're not going to get you up the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, the arms, they're good, but they're just not going to do it. So your core, lower body, that's what's going to carry you up the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of guys you see go to the gym, they're just benching, doing curls, stuff like that.
Curls for the girls.
Yep, curls for the girls. And not really working lower body.
So what's so important about your core for working?
Core is, stability. It's the biggest thing for me. You're out there walking on, you're side heeling, and you're on rocks, and you're slippery, and anything can happen anytime. And foot slips, you got to be able to use your upper body to balance yourself, to catch yourself, or you're going down.
Yeah. Yeah, and even for, carrying the pack weight.
Oh, yeah,
everything,
the pack, yeah.
Bending
definitely.
over, anything like that. Your core is one of the biggest things that I learned. And not just because of, the stability is probably the biggest factor of it. One thing I noticed for me was your lower back will get extremely sore from carrying a lot of weight on a backpack style hunt, or if you're packing out meat, which it may anyways, depending on the weight. But to reduce that, if you strengthen your core, and your abdomen region, it helps support your back. So they kind of go in conjunction with each other. And that was big for me. I remember when I first started, putting weight in a pack, getting ready for the first hunt, and I'm like, my back's killing me. So you still have to get your back into shape,
right.
But that's what they told me.
Yeah.
At Kafaru, they're like, you need to get your core in shape. You get in shape. I'm like, well, I thought I was in shape. They're like, nope.
Round is a shape, right?
Yeah. But anyways, so what else as far as for your legs and stuff?
So what I do is a lot of running. Some people just hate running, like yourself, I think. You told me you're not a big fan of running.
No, I do it, but I hate it.
Well, it's not my favorite thing, but when you have a end goal you're trying to reach, and for me, that end goal is to be able to get on that mountain and not have that mountain kick my butt to a point where I can't keep going after that elk or that mule deer or whatever I'm after. And so when I'm out there running, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm listening probably to a podcast in my headphones of somebody talking about hunting or whatever it is that's interesting me at the time, whether it be a lot of times I'll listen to Brian Call and the Gritty Bowman. I'll listen to Snyder on Kafaru Cast, Stephen Ranella, which is great. I love listening to Stephen. But anyway, that stuff. Listening to those guys as I'm doing it, it motivates me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing, I'm running and I'm thinking about, heading up this hill to get to this elk that's bugling on the other side. I want to be able to see that next hill and go after it and not be like, it's too far. I'm not doing it today. I don't want to be that guy. especially if I'm hunting with somebody else who's in, top shape and they're ready to roll. And I'm like, man, I can't do it. I don't want to be that guy. And so a lot of running, a lot of doing a lot of squats and stuff like that with the squat rack, deadlifting. One of the things that when I run, sometimes I'll go down to the beach. And I think I put that in that article that I sent you. Just running in sand that's tough if you've never done it. I mean, especially the soft sand.
It's tough on your feet and everything too.
Well, it's not so much on the feet.
As far as being sore.
But the biggest thing it gets is like your calves, like your Achilles, your calves, and that seems to strengthen that up real good. And it gives you that sand. It's not like running on asphalt or grass. You've got a lot of instability in the sand, and so that strengthens your ankles, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
No, it makes sense.
Which is good, if you're up there, like I was saying a while ago, about side heeling and you hit that slippery rock and you just, your ankle turns over if you don't have a stiff boot on, you want that stability in your ankle and lower legs, calves. So I've done that and, living at sea level, pretty much, it's a challenge. I can get out there and run 6 miles without stopping, but I might gain, 20 feet in elevation, So, one of the other things that I've done, I'll drive up to Raleigh every now and then, and I think there's a course there I can get a couple 100 feet in elevation around the lake. And also, I was in school at North Carolina State University, and they have like a 10-story library, and so I'd run up the steps of it, a couple times, run up, come back down easy, and then run back up, come back. I did that, 2 or 3 times, and just do it fast, hit every step, and I'm not skipping steps, I'm just pumping, the whole way up. But just stuff like that, you've got to just think about it, ways to find heels, find ways to do it without, if you don't have a gym to go to.
Yeah. So you were showing me a picture of the other day where how you were practicing to come shoot here. So I want you to explain that with this not being on video. Try to explain through the headset here.
Oh man, this might be tough. I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone so I can look at it and tell you. All right, here at TAC, they Total Archery Challenge. The courses are set up on ski slopes, so it's not flat. Not flat at all. I mean, you're taking extreme angle shots. I mean, I'm looking at the caribou target now. That's I think somebody says 115 yards.
Yeah, somewhere.
So and the angle, it's got to be a 30-degree angle, 25, 30-degree angle uphill at least. And I have no way to practice that at home. No way whatsoever. So what I've got is some 3D targets, and the one in particular that I did this to was an antelope that I'd bought to prepare myself for the western antelope I had. That's one of the tags I had in Montana. So I have this cable in my yard that's connected to 2 trees, and I threw a rope over it and a pulley, and I attached this decoy or this 3D target to a rope and a pulley. And I just jack it up in the air, and it's probably 40 feet in the air, and so it's just hanging in the air above my building. There's nothing behind it. There's, no hill. If I miss, that air is gone. You're never going to find it. It's going to go for a mile, it seems like. But, so like I said, it's 40 feet in the air, and I just back up, 20, 30, 40 feet, all the way out to 60 yards, just trying that extreme angle, and, so that's, for me, that was an extreme angle. Come out here, and it's like a whole lot. I mean, from that caribou, there's probably 100 foot or more of elevation between the where you stand at and where you shoot that caribou.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, do you think that helped you out? And
oh yeah. Yes, it was. It just gave you another perspective.
So what? There's challenges with shooting angles, and that's why shooting in your backyard is cool and everything.
Yeah.
But practicing at angles and going to 3D events and stuff is a big deal.
Right.
I mean, okay, so your peep position, the way you look through your peep, your anchor points,
Yep.
all that feels like it's changing. It
Yep.
may not be, but it's going to slightly bending it, your waist. There's a bunch of different mechanics that go into that, and you have to figure it out how it feels because it is different. It's just no matter which way you look at it, it feels different.
Yeah.
And in a lot of the western states and even a lot of the Appalachian Mountain region, you're not shooting flat. You're shooting down, whether that's out of a tree stand, whether that's, down off a ridge or, just anything like that, or, up a ridge. So,
yeah. So, yeah, that was my deal with the Total Archery Challenge, trying to practice for it. So,
yeah. So,
and another thing I wanted to do was, with your extreme angles, your line of sight distance is going to be different than your actually shooting distance. You got to compensate for that, and I wanted to check that with my rangefinder the best that I could. With that, these angles here are a whole lot more extreme than this target that I've got hung up. But even then, I was still having to cut off 2 or 3 yards, according to the rangefinder, and then actually my sight tape was saying the same thing. So
okay,
because if you don't, you're going to hit high or miss.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something to note. So. Last year, you went on, was it your first Western trip, right?
No, I actually went in 2016 to South Dakota for antelope hunt. Yep, went on an antelope hunt. But last year was my first trip for elk and mule deer out west.
Okay.
Went to southeastern Montana. It was a limited draw area. Surprised that I actually drew an elk tag on my first go-around. It's archery only. I know guys that's put in for rifle tags there for the last 10 years and still haven't got one. So it's a tough area to draw a rifle tag. Bow tag, I think, is about 50% every other year. Mm-hmm. They say you'll draw, but I got it on the first time. There was 4 other guys that went. Only 2 of us drew elk tags. The other guys had deer tags, so they were hunting deer at the same time we were hunting elk. But it was great. I enjoyed it.
So tell us a little bit about what were some things that you didn't expect from going there and learn from it?
Probably the biggest thing is make sure you go with the right people.
That's very true.
With
the same goals in mind is what you're getting at?
The same goals, the same mindset. These guys have been hunting this same place for many years now, and they have their way of doing things, and just found out that it's not the same way that I do things. So I think they might be a little bit lax in the way they do it. One of the guys, I've grew up with him my whole life and never hunted with him. But they're all good people. It's just, one morning in particular, I shot an elk. I was able to call him into me to 20 yards and get a quarter and away shot at 30 yards. And unfortunately, we couldn't recover him. We tracked him probably 1,000 yards. I'm thinking maybe I just hit one lung. He just went forever. But that morning, all the guys stayed in bed. I was, every morning we would get up and go to a spot, glass, and if it wasn't happening, then they just go back to the house, that we were staying at. And so I was like, they just wasn't after it. It was like, if it's not happening right now, if the wind's not right, that's it for the day. We're not going to try to push it. We're not going to try to get around the wind. And the main reason, they just wasn't in shape. I'm already to the top of the mountain. They're halfway up, sucking air,
yeah,
trying to get to our glassing spot. They're just peeling off clothes, pouring sweat, and probably, way overweight than what they need to be.
But for the most part too is, from what you're saying is that kind of holds you back from all the preparation you did and everything that you worked on, because your hunting partners just didn't have the same goals, and maybe and what their goals are fine, but it's not right for you to be able to be involved in the same thing.
Yep. So in the mornings and the evenings we were after elk. During the day I was chasing mule deer or antelope during the day. I did finally get an antelope with a 55-yard shot. That was pretty neat. I caught him at a cattle trough or a watering trough, and there was a doe there. He was more interested in her than he was in us walking by. So,
Yeah.
And so he gave me a shot, so I took it, and so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Antelope, and realize how tough those things are.
Yeah.
And you see them on TV, they don't look that big, but when you're actually dressing one out and all that,
They're a pretty solid animal. Huh?
Yeah, and the neck on them, man, is at least that time of year he had a big neck.
That's awesome.
So, but I would say for the Montana trip, the biggest thing I learned was just make sure you go with the hunting partners that you can trust, that you can, if you're going to be in the backcountry for 7 days, 10 days, trust them. You got to trust them with your life. I mean, there could be times where they could, possibly kill you. The situation I was in wasn't quite like that. They just didn't hunt the way I wanted to hunt, and it's just a personal preference. They didn't want to get out there and pressure the elk at all. If it basically didn't walk by, they weren't gonna have it. And so the morning that they all stayed in the bed, and I did the same thing they did. Went to the top, and no elk whatsoever. And so I just hit the ridge, go on down about half a mile, bugling every now and then, cow calling, and I finally had one bugle back at me, and it was game on then. Game on. So, and to have him at 20 yards, slobber just drooling out of his mouth, bugling. I think he bugled 3 times right there at 20 yards. And just the hair on the back of my neck standing up. I mean, man,
I've seen that.
That's
like you absolutely fired up.
I've never done drugs before, but that's got to be better than crack.
Yeah, that adrenaline rush and your brain kind of goes straight to mush thinking about it.
Exactly, and that's probably what happened for the majority of why I didn't kill that elk, is because in that situation, it wasn't like, because whenever I seen him, he was probably at 40 yards. It was kind of a thick area, and when he come in the opening, he was at 20. So I could hear him coming down. He was bugling. He was making this sound, like almost like a moan. Or something. I can't even describe it really. But he comes down to 20 yards, and he's standing his chest is facing me, but his head is looking downhill, and that's no shot that I wanted to take, frontal on my first time out, which I hear people say that's a high percentage shot if you put it in the right place, but basically.
But you were using mechanical broadheads though too.
No. On this trip I had fixed blade.
Okay.
The South Dakota trip I was on, I had mechanicals.
Okay.
Which I found out real quick is not good for spotting and stalking. That's what I was telling somebody. The research that I did going out west, I was in the gear, clothing, weather, terrain, everything, and anywhere did it say anything about using mechanicals for spotting and stalking, about how that's a bad idea for the most part.
So why is it a bad idea?
Well, what was happening is I'd have an arrow knocked, whenever we got close to an animal, and we would have to move, 10 yards, 20 yards, or, he would go over the hill when he have to rush it to get back up to him. And I'd get set up and look, and I'd have a blade deployed where it's hit a branch or a grass or something. It's just deployed out. And so, I mean, I don't want to get into specifics of brands or whatever, but so that happened probably half a dozen times, because, I mean, we did on a bunch of stalks, several stalks a day, which is cool about antelope hunting. You screw up a stalk, you just go get on another one.
So was it a rear deploying head, or what how was it deployed? Just so because I'm not all mechanicals are, created equal as far as the way that they deploy. Some, deploy from the front. Some, are like a slip cam type style. What?
I guess you would consider this a slip cam because it doesn't fold back. It slides in and out.
Okay.
So that's the type of mechanical I was using there.
Yep. Okay.
So and really you could just take that blade and just pop it out with your finger. It's just a little band holding it on, and And I actually think they may have changed the collar that they used to hold that blade on. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe because the one that I had.
Are you referring to Rage Broadhead?
I am.
No, you might as well.
Yeah.
People need to know what.
That's
the
what it
problem
was.
with
It was the Rage Broadheads. The ones that I had, they have like a rubber O-ring, and the blade actually has a little clip in it. That's what holds it down. Mm-hmm. And I think they've actually got like a plastic collar now, maybe.
Yeah, they have changed the design a little bit. So that.
But I haven't used the plastic collar. So the experience that I had was with the rubber O-ring,
mm-hmm.
and just the slightest movement would kick that blade out.
Okay.
Which was kind of aggravating, nerve-wracking. Every time you moved, you had to double check, and so.
Yeah. No, that's a good thing to note, and at least what you're saying is just look into it. The less things that can go wrong, the better.
Exactly. And there's guys out there that use that spot stock mechanicals every year. Yeah. It's probably thousands of them that do it. But for me, I don't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their opinion, and that's mine, and that's a big one for me. I will not go spotting and stalking with a mechanical. So
cool. So what heads are you using now?
I am using the Iron Will Broadheads.
Okay.
The guy's out of Colorado. What's the name of his town? Van Buren, maybe? I can't remember. But anyway, Bill, he's the guy that owns it, and great guy. I met him at Phil Mendoza's shop there in Denver for a seminar that Phil put on back in December. He had some heads there he was giving away, and I was checking them out, and I was like, man, these things look pretty cool. It's a solid broadhead. So I ordered a 3-pack earlier in the year, practiced with them. At 100 yards, grouping with my field points. I was just amazed by that. Because I had a hard time finding a fixed blade on my Montana trip. I was back and forth between 3 different heads, trying to figure out which one flew with my field points, because I want to practice with my field points, obviously, and, shoot the broadheads, with the animals. So I would practice with broadheads and field points, and just getting them to group the same was tough. For my Montana trip, I ended up with the trocars, the Muzzy trocars.
Yeah.
Which are, a great head. But I just wanted something a little bit different. The trocars aren't really what you'd call a cut-on contact. They've got the
chisel tip.
Yep. And I was just a little bit skeptical about the steep angle of the blades. It's got that chisel point, and then the blades are really steep. I feel like maybe that might cause some stopping power or something. So the elk that I shot him with the trocar, quartering away. I got an entrance, did not get an exit wound. And actually, he broke the arrow off probably about 6 or 8 inches from the knock, and had blood all the way up to the fletchings. So, I got some penetration. It's just, elk are so broad, it just didn't get a pass through. I don't know if I come through and hit the shoulder on the other side or a rib or whatever, but it just didn't work out on recovering him with that, that situation, basically.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good. And then those Iron Will heads are also something that I'm going to be trying out this year for the most part. So.
Yeah, and so the 3 that I bought, I liked them. I actually shot 2 turkeys with them this year. So I practiced with them, all 3 of them, just to check the grouping. Shot a turkey with one and used the same one on the second turkey, and never sharpened his blade. So there's some sharp stuff, and the stuff he makes it out of. They are pricey, but what I've come to find out with this stuff is you get what you pay for. His broadheads have a lifetime warranty. If you bend it, break it, send it in, you get a new one.
Yeah, I did. I think he was saying that you can shoot those into a target a lot of times and still pull it out and shave your arm with it.
Yeah, yep. He was saying that you could shoot, I can't remember what, it's like half a dozen times, and it's still sharper than a lot of other broadheads out of the factory.
Yeah. That's what he was saying, because a lot of people ask, why don't you have practice blades? Well, that's why. That's pretty awesome, and shows with the sharpness and the attention to detail. And yes, they are definitely expensive. So that but if you're going on a hunt, this is my thought on it.
I know where you're going.
Is if you're going on a hunt where you're going to hunt elk or mule deer or something that's out of your comfort zone, maybe once in a lifetime chance, then I want everything to perform perfectly.
Yep.
Does it need to? Probably not. But I really think that that's a big thing, that if you have the extra money, you can work for the extra money, do whatever. I would go with something like that.
Minimizing your risk out there.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do to make yourself comfortable. And a lot of times it's mentally confident on stuff. I mean, if it's like I've got a particular bow that I had issue with out there in Montana, and I have no confidence in that bow anymore at all. So I don't even shoot it anymore. So, I mean, right now I've got a prime bow, prime synergy that I got, and I'm loving it. So, but, if you don't have confidence in something, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You got to have confidence in your gear. It doesn't matter if your bow's 10 years old or if it's brand new. You got to know your equipment in and out. And
that's like Greg. What's his last name?
Litzinger.
He, he's got was it a Matthews?
No, it was a new breed archery, I believe.
Okay. But anyway, that thing was 10 years old?
Something like that.
Yeah. And he's like, a state champ archer for Jersey?
Unbelievable shooter, yeah.
And so it's like he was saying, too, it's not always about the bow, it's about the shooter. I mean, he can take that old bow, it's tuned perfectly for him, and he can shoot lights out.
He practices every day.
Yeah,
he does
practices every day. So
exactly. So, all right, man. Do you have anything else you want to add to this podcast here? I'm sure we'll have you on again here as you get ready to head to Colorado this year for elk now.
Going to Colorado. And you're going back to Colorado?
I believe so.
Yep. You believe so?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to Colorado. I say that because my mind always switches. Yeah. But I'm going to Colorado.
Yeah. What is it they say about Colorado? It's the land of opportunity or something?
It is. Yeah. There's a lot to do in Colorado.
It's one of the few places you can go and get an archery tag over the counter.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few states that you can, but there's more over the counter opportunities than just about anywhere. Montana's probably right in there with them, but other than that, it's pretty awesome, and barrier entry is a lot easier than some other states, which does get more hunting pressure because of that. But it is the land of opportunity, in my opinion. So
and I'm gonna get the elk tag when I get there because it's over the counter. But I also applied for deer tag, and I guess it's gonna come out. In a few days, the draw results?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, like the 6th or 5th or 6th, something like that. So we'll find out if I got that, which I think somebody was telling me for that area is like a 50-50 shot, whether or not you get it. And I'll probably end up getting a bear tag or trying to get a bear tag too.
Get a bear tag.
Just because, if I go out there and don't get one, I'll see 20 bears. Yep. If I go out there, if I get a tag, I probably won't see one at all. But
spend the money on the bear tag, man. I made that mistake last year. Saw so many bears. It was ridiculous. I mean, that population is, once they got rid of the spring bear hunt, it was crazy. I mean, color phased bears, beautiful bears, and they're supposed to be unbelievable eating because they're feeding on berries. Yeah, they're not, like some of the eastern, they probably eat fish out of the lake, but like some of the eastern bears that are eating trash and a lot of things like that. So. But anyways, all right, buddy. Well, again, thanks for having you on, and I hope you have a safe trip back to North Carolina today.
Yeah, man, I hope so too. Got about an 8-hour drive ahead of us here shortly.
All right, man.
So what's your slogan again?
Bow nose.
Bow nose.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Bo Martonic. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.